do DDC controls, ours, and many have different ways you can set schedules. Some is the daily schedule. This is how I want you to run every day. Then you say, well, except. And so you have an event schedule. And except for this day, like we've got 3 days coming up where we've only got teachers in the building for a half a day. So we're only going to run that, and we'll put those in as an event. What can happen is somebody gets in a hurry, they forget to use the event schedule, and they use the regular schedule. So somebody wants them to extend the schedule for an hour or two for a night event, and they forget to take it back out. They thought it went in as an event, and it was only going to hold in there for a day. Ultimately, it holds in there until you remember it or see it again. This particular schedule stayed in there for a couple years. That was another $3,000. Just with one glance, this was a $6,500 savings at one school. And I could give you just a bunch of others. This was the first one we did, so this is the one we highlighted, but there was about a $10,000 one at I'll tell you about it, at our Gresham High School. Gresham High School, it was in the summer, and everything was scheduled to be off. Through the interval meter, we noticed that it looked like air conditioning was coming on. Why the custodians weren't telling us this, we don't know. But ultimately, we found out air conditioning was coming on, and we had the software set up to where we tell the software, the building's unoccupied, so you don't have to energize anything. And it says, okay, that's fine, I won't energize anything because the building's unoccupied. However, usually your unoccupieds are weekends and evenings, except in the summer, and maybe sometimes in the spring. Somebody somewhere had set the night cooling limit to 75 degrees. And the reason for that was they wanted to cool off in case a computer room got up to 75 degrees. They wanted to cool that off. So, but this feature went in, and so even though it was, quote, in night mode during the day, the minute the daytime temperature hit 75 degrees, which guess when that is in July, it's like 8 in the morning sometimes, then it's going to kick on. And we saw that the next day. We saw that that was occurring, and that was a big hit because that was an air conditioning for an entire high school. It's conceivable without this, we would not have noticed that until that bill came in, and we were looking at that bill in September. By then it had been way too late to even figure out what happened. We knew something happened, hope it wouldn't happen next year, but this technology allows you to see that sort of thing. Lori, how much time do I have?
Well, we need to finish about half-past. You can take some questions after that.
Okay. I'm going to skip through some of this stuff because I have a really... some of this is just bragging. Oh, it is. But, well, let me go back to that one. This is kind of a cool one. This is one school, but this is our district. This is so rare, I guess, and I don't know why. But when you start out with a program, it's easy. This is the low-hanging fruit. But it's very difficult to keep that trend going down. But if our district one even is more pronounced than that, even 8 years into the program, and we know that there's other savings there. And as I say, it's mostly low-hanging fruit and just understanding how your buildings are operated. And I will kind of go through a grocery list of some of the things we did, because I know one of the questions is probably, well, what did you actually do? I'll get there. Oh, I better talk about this one. This is for the school. This is the school ownership and incentive program. This is where I said it was. I didn't say this. We make the school's energy performance available on a school or district-wide database or website. I'm sorry. The same website where they go get that, they can go get the graph and they can look at how they use energy the day before. And I'll talk a minute about what's in that for the school. But at this website, they also have access to this. This is for one school, but this can show the green is acres of trees saved, the red is cars off the road, and the blue was a single-family housing equivalent. But one of the things they'll also see at our website is our energy program has avoided putting about 8 million pounds of CO2 in the air. So that's pretty significant as well. That's another, hopefully, motivation for having an energy program. This is Some districts do this, some don't. Not Bend Lapine, Crook County schools? Okay. They don't have as many schools as we do, and they don't have as big a budget as we do, but they put significantly more into an incentive program than we do. I'm going to talk about ours, but many find that not only do incentive programs help you, but you can put quite a bit into them, and yet they'll still pay back. Our incentive program is we offer the target incentive is elementary schools can have up to $1,000. Middle schools can have up to $2,000. High schools can have up to $3,000, and they can earn it one of three ways: through participation in our program, through performance, where we simply look at how that building has done compared to previous years, and through effort. What are you doing that we're not asking you to do? The participation piece has to do with that building performance plan. Through that plan that they've agreed to operate their building a certain way, and as long as they do that and can provide evidence that they've done that, then they can get 40% of that $2,000 or $800 if they're a middle school. And again, up to the rest of that. If they have a Watt Watcher program, that might be that 20% they need. Because unfortunately, we have dialed down our energy savings so much that there's certain schools that they just can't it's very difficult for them to outperform the previous year. So they're not going to get a lot in the performance piece. And please, by the way, if you have any questions as we go, feel free. I know I'm going through this really fast. Here are some, for some of you, some opportunities to seek other funding sources to help you out. A lot of districts do not take advantage of these funds, and I'm not sure why that is. It isn't as onerous as it might appear. Senate Bill 1149 is a bill that passed right here, 2000 or so, and it was a bill that basically impounded 3% of the gross income from PGE and PacifiCorp, made that pot of money available in the following way. 90% of that was made available to corporations and residential. That's managed by the Energy Trust of Oregon. Most of you have heard of that. The other 10% then was, we just call it Senate Bill 1149, is made available to schools. For us, as the Gresham Barlow School District, that's about $180,000 a year that's available to us for retrofits. There are some hoops you have to jump through, but the Oregon Department of Energy is very, very helpful in making sure that you are able to get through those hoops. If you just go to the website, you can be a deer in headlights. It does look pretty onerous, but get a hold of Brandon Adams or Bruce Alford there, and either one of those people have been, there's a bunch of others, but those two especially have been especially helpful to us. There's the BETC, Business Energy Tax Credit Program, that's also available, and of course there's low interest loans that they're also available. I will say we've taken advantage of all the money that's been available to us, but we've only, for the most part, done lighting retrofits. So of all the savings that you've seen, a lot of that from 98 to about 2003 came before we even did any retrofits. It's still that low-hanging fruit. But I don't want to say that we didn't take advantage of this. We also put a new boiler in at Gresham High School. There are some costs that are associated costs that are kind of funky that you have to deal with. You don't just save energy. If anybody has ever done a lighting retrofit, you know you have to deal with the cost of PCB remediation. If you do a boiler retrofit, sometimes you have asbestos remediation. These programs have recognized that that is part and parcel of what you do, and they will help fund those pieces of it as well, even though they're not directly related to energy savings. Because they know that if you don't do those, then you're not going to save any energy because you're not going to do the program. Kind of the last piece of this segment here. I hope what I've been able to illustrate is most of the time, if you see, how do I get to savings? You'll see this reversed. You'll see this on the bottom, sort of the foundation is, get new equipment in there, and then do this other stuff. What I would suggest looking at is become familiar with how you use energy, because and you'll see, you can get all this new and retrofit equipment, but if somebody doesn't know how to operate it as efficiently as it's designed, it's conceivable that you're not going to save the energy that it was designed for. And so having people trained, understanding how getting your behavior opportunity, getting your building equipment commissioned and so forth is, then finally pay attention to that